Welcome to Adjective Clauses Part 3. At this point, you should already know that a clause is a group of related words that contains a subject and a verb, and that there are two types of clauses: independent clauses, which are clauses that can stand alone as sentences, and dependent clauses, which are clauses that cannot stand alone and need independent clauses to complete them. Adjective clauses are one type of dependent clause, and as you may have noticed, they have many rules and uses. So let's get started. Hopefully, you remember that adjective clauses modify or change nouns, and they come right after the noun in the sentence. When forming adjective clauses, you can use whose, where, and when. Whose is used to show possession. Look at the following example. The main character is a man. His worst nightmare is to die alone. We can join these two sentences together by replacing his with whose, and it would be correct. When forming adjective clauses, we use where to modify a place. Look at the following example. The diner is called Monk's. Jerry Seinfeld eats there. In the second sentence, there is the pronoun that refers back to the diner, and we can replace it by creating an adjective clause that uses where. We can join these two sentences together and say, the diner where Jerry Seinfeld eats is called Monk's. It is also important to know that if you decide to use which or that, or if you decide to delete the adjective clause pronoun in order to join the sentences together, you must use a preposition that demonstrates location in the sentence. In other words, if you don't use where in an adjective clause, you need to use a preposition in the adjective clause. Look at the second example. The diner in which Jerry Seinfeld eats is called Monk's. Notice that the preposition in is used before which. It is more formal to use prepositions before which in academic writing, but it is also acceptable to say the following. The diner which Jerry eats in is called Monk's. Notice that the preposition comes after the verb in this sentence. This is much more common to see in writing when using which or that, but know that you can use a preposition before which if you would like to write more formally. When can also be used to form adjective clauses, but it is incredibly important to know that when is more commonly used in adverbial clauses, which we will discuss in another video. We use when to modify a noun of time. This can include a specific day or year. Let's take a look at the following sentences. Rick will never forget the day. He found his family then. To join them together, we can say, Rick will never forget the day when he found his family. In this sentence, the adjective clause is describing the specific day that Rick found his family. Notice that you can also use which and that to join the clauses together, and since they are acting as object pronouns, you can omit them from the sentence. Keep in mind that when you use which, you must use a preposition. Take a moment to pause the video and complete this practice exercise. Combine each pair of sentences using whose, where, or when. Write your responses down and any questions you may have and bring them to class with you. There are two types of adjective clauses. We'll look at the first type of clause on this slide. If the adjective clause is necessary to identify the noun it is modifying, do not use commas. These are called restrictive clauses and they do not require commas. In the example, the professor who teaches Chemistry 101 is an excellent lecturer. The adjective clause, who teaches Chemistry 101, is necessary information to identify the professor. Because it's necessary information, it doesn't need commas. The second type of adjective clause is not necessary in a sentence. These adjective clauses actually provide extra information to identify the noun it is modifying, but the information isn't necessary. These are called non-restrictive clauses, and they require commas to identify the extra unneeded information. Look at the following example. Mr. White, who teaches Chemistry 101, is an excellent lecturer. The adjective clause who teaches Chemistry 101 is extra information. Since we know the teacher is Mr. White, this adjective clause is used to tell us what subject he teaches, which is not necessary to know who he is. Because it's extra information, it requires commas. Non-restrictive clauses can be removed from a sentence, and the sentence will still be able to identify the noun without its help. You have finished watching the Adjective Clauses Part 3 video. Now that you are done, make sure that you review your notes and complete exercise 35 on page 286 in your Azar book. Be prepared for a possible quiz next class. Thank you for watching. Bye.